Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back, everybody. We are going to define your style, specifically your interior design style. Think about that for a second. You walk in your living room, bedroom, your home. How would you define what you are, the way it looks? What makes you feel good? And maybe it doesn't, feels like something's a little bit off. Then what should it be? We're going to talk about that today and learn, as I just did, that there are lots of different design styles. There's a lot, like dozens. And this is all in her wheelhouse. She's the woman behind Rise Interiors. MaryJo Major is back with us. How are you today?
Hi, Steve. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you back here. Now, when we first got together, I remember asking what your style was. Now, let me just preface that by saying that doesn't mean that that's the way you're going to design somebody's interior. That's just you do whatever somebody likes. But I'm going to start with you. How do you define you?
Oh, gosh. How do I define me? So I'm a mixed bag. I think everyone is. I think my main style is somewhere between transitional and kind of eclectic, mixed with maybe a little bit of contemporary and mid-century, maybe a little bit of, I would say even maximalist.
Maximalist? Minimalist, yeah, but I've never heard that term before.
Really?
And I look at what a minimalist design would be. I'm getting visuals like what is a maximalist? Clutter? Is that clutter?
I know, yeah, it does sound like clutter. It is a little different than the minimalist approach. It's instead of paring things back, the idea is that it's more is more. So the more you have, the better it is. So I would say that that doesn't necessarily mean clutter. That does mean, though, that it's okay to collect things that you like. And it's okay to have more than one throw pillow on your sofa. And it's okay to have, art gallery walls of different things kind of throughout your house, as opposed to just, one thing here, one thing here.
Would that also come under the category of somebody who had a curio cabinet and had a collection of something, Hummels, whatever you want to call them? There's so many different things that come and go, but there's more than one. Would that be a maximalist?
Yes, I would define that in today's style terms. And I want to back up for a quick sec and explain to everyone why it's important, I guess, to know your style. Because I think that a lot of people, whenever they look at catalogs or, they go into someone else's house and they say, oh, I love how this looks, or I love, how they arrange certain things or what they did here. There's then this kind of inner reflection of, okay, so if I like that, what does that mean for my own house? Or what does that mean for what I have now? And there's usually a little bit of confusion of, okay, well, if I like this, am I allowed to also like, the things that I have already? Because I think you people will find that if they like something different, there is the difference between liking something and wanting it in your own house. But if they do want it in their own house, a lot of times I think people get frustrated because they don't feel like they can merge everything together. And so I would encourage everyone that there is a recipe to what you like and all the different styles that get put together. It's just a matter of how much you see of one thing. So I would say, though, that we're all, like myself, we're all kind of made up of different stuff. We all, you might have a curio cabinet full of little tchotchkes, but then over here you might have really ornate kind of damask, which are those like really ornate kind of floral kind of patterns you'd see like in Versailles, those kind of mixed on like some sort of straight back sofa mixed with a really, contemporary table lamp. I don't know. There's a bunch of different things that you can kind of mix together. But yeah, I just want to, I guess, say that you can do it all. It's a matter of how you mix it.
I am not a maximalist.
I kind of picked up on that.
I'm just not. You
Yeah.
know, doesn't mean I don't have multiple throw pillows. If you looked on my bed, I have multiple pillows. I never use them. Sometimes I want to prop it up and then, I'll just grab them. That's where they come in handy. Other than that, um,
Yeah.
but having moved in the last couple of years, that better defined my style because you get rid of stuff and I definitely need to put pictures up. I gotta, I have them. I just haven't done it. Give us some of the other styles that are floating out there.
Yes, I'd love to, yeah, tell you kind of some, and these are just, I would even say these don't even encompass them all, but these are some basic ones. All right. So what I'm gonna do, Steve, I'm gonna kind of list them out and then we can circle back. So, um, Southern traditional, Palm Beach, mid-century modern, neo-industrial, traditional, transitional, maximalist, Scandinavian,
Mm.
farmhouse, Americana, rustic, minimalist, bohemian. There's still a few more.
Wow.
Mediterranean, French country, eclectic, 70s revival, English cottage, handful more. Art Deco, modern farmhouse, contemporary, Regency, coastal. And the last two are called Grand Millennial, and then another one that's called Memphis. So
Wow.
that I listed out about 25, and believe it or not, other people would kind of define even more, but that's broad brushstrokes, kind of a whole bunch of them.
Wow. Interesting. Like seriously mean interesting. Even thinking about those names and what they would look like in a home.
Mm-hmm.
And I was waiting. I love the water. And I gravitate toward more. If I could do a Caribbean vibe, would that be coastal?
Yeah.
Would that come under the category?
Yes, I would say that's coastal. I
Okay.
would say it depends on to how I guess exaggerated you also want some detail. So let's just say you like the sea colors in your house. And I know you're a minimal guy, so you probably just want it to be kind of really serene and lots of white furniture, maybe. But let's just say you did want something that looked a little bit, bolder. I would say that Palm Beach style, which is it has colorful prints. It has those sea colors that are more saturated. It uses like scallops on stuff, where those scallops are those kind of those
Yep.
looks like a
Yep.
little bit.
Totally.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, woven texture. So anyway, all that yeah, would be like an extra take on the coastal.
Mm. I find it fascinating. I really do. Because there's
I,
different, and they say, you shouldn't put a label on somebody or something, but it helps you get your mind in a certain wheelhouse. And just using as an example, my affinity for the Caribbean, that doesn't mean that like you said, light furniture. My bedroom is dark furniture. It's
that's right.
it's a darker look, but around it is light. And I
Mhm.
just inherited these sort of whitewash floors, laminates that have that. So, it's
Yeah,
kind of a whitish, grayish kind of look to it. And the
right.
window's very open. But you might not think that that's Caribbean. Yes, I have some, tropical looking plants in there. And there's a peat coral that I got, like that
Yeah,
big on the
yeah,
nightstand. But there's different variations of it. And what you think is might not be what you think it is. Right?
right. Well, and you're probably mixed in with a few other things. So you also may tend towards more modern because there is that feel like the Caribbean look that's very, ornate, right? There's the carved, all this carved wood and all this really like a lot more heavy texture.
Yes.
The
Yes.
Caribbean, so versus the modern look doesn't have all that carved wood. It's much sleeker, it's simpler. And then even, what you went back to earlier, the minimalist, it means that light plays a big part in the room because
Ah,
there's not as many things in the room. Light's a big factor.
wow. You just hit something. And love the bedroom, lots of light. Living room, not lots of light. Yeah, there's a sliding door, but it doesn't illuminate like the bedroom does. And I think you've nailed why I don't like my living room. Even though it's minimalistic and the colors are all
Yeah.
right, it needs
Yeah.
it needs work, but that's the one thing that's missing.
Yeah.
Side note, my daughter doesn't like a lot of light.
Okay.
A lot of teenagers like it dark. So, I'll come home
They can
and
look at their phones.
never thought of that. You're right. But I'll come home and all the blinds are closed, and I'm like, oh no, I just need light.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And then she uses the excuse like, I don't want anybody looking at me. Nobody can see. but I think I love how you get into the psychology of all of this, because I didn't hit it, and that's exactly what it is. Why I'm not a lover of my living room.
Yeah, we probably, some minimal, simple lighting, mixed lighting. That's probably what you need that would really, really make it feel
How
better.
would you accomplish that short of the sliders where, daytime
Yeah,
you get light? That's not to say, at night I don't want light in there, but what would
sure.
you do? There's hi-hats,
Yeah.
there's a fan, but,
Okay.
those lights on, the globes or whatever, the little tiny lights.
Yes.
What would you add just to add more pop?
Yeah, I would do a few things. I kind of think about it,
I love
you
it
know,
when you say that though, because I get excited. You're like the dog on the trail, like I'm gonna find the answer.
yeah, so I would just think about every single kind of surface in your house. So floor, wall, ceiling. So if you already have lighting in your ceiling and it sounds like you have kind of all over lighting and then as well as a fixture, think about the walls. You can always add a wall sconce, or you can always add some sort of light that is, on the wall somehow.
Okay.
And then,
Hmm.
yeah, so sometimes people will have a picture light, is what they call it, where it's above a specific piece of artwork that's kind of casting light on that piece or on that area of the wall. And then other times it's more kind of diffuse light on either side of, a TV, or, on some just even blank walls. I've seen it done just as another kind of decorative element.
Hmm.
So I would definitely add something on the walls. And then in terms of accent lighting, I definitely think you can add, it's really easy to add floor lamps or table lamps, depending on kind of what you prefer. And I actually like a little bit of both, at least, one floor lamp with either one or two table lamps. But I do think the mix of accent lighting does help a space feel layered and more welcoming.
I can see that, and I love when you describe things. We get visuals. We can see it's very clear. Interestingly, and we talked about lighting before, but
Yeah.
I feel many of us have aversion to like the floor lamp. Oh my gosh, I was in my mom's house. She had that with the three, the one pole and the three lights and everything.
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah.
ran away from all of that. We threw them in the
Right.
garbage because we went to the hi-hat, and it seems
Yeah.
like, and tell me, this is my perception, but it seems like a return to the floor lamps and those types of warmer lighting. Is that what's going on?
Yes, I would say that with any of these styles, depending on kind of where you lean, yes, there is always a spot for a floor lamp. Now, I will say this, it's very you have to be sensitive to your household. So for example, if you have a big dog, you probably don't want one that is, a little bit maybe oversized and right next to the sofa where the dog can kind of knock it, right? But if, or, or kids or whatever. So I would say that, be aware of kind of where you put things, but you can still have those things. They need to be kind of a little bit more protected. But I would say that, yes, I really am a fan of either floor lamps or table lamps, something again to kind of add some accent lighting in the space. And so I think where you're going to be sitting to read, or even having conversation at night. I know a bunch of my clients actually don't like to turn on their hi-hats, their recess cans. They like to keep them off at night and just have on their lamps to kind of have that more ambient, just, yeah, kind of a nighttime glow as opposed to the light on.
So you inspired me last time we got together.
Okay.
I think I mentioned I have two table lamps in my office. They have a Caribbean vibe. I don't know why they were here. I think I needed them for a project, and then they were just
Okay.
sitting in the corner. I
Yeah.
brought them home.
Uh-huh.
Whoa, what a difference. And I had addressable modules from my house that I never used. So
Okay.
right here, let me see if I could show you. Right here is, that's not showing up. It's hard to see. But there's a module, and watch this.
Okay.
I just turned the bedroom light on, just like that.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
when I'm, before I even get home, it's already on, waiting for me, and not wasting electric. And I can even set a timer. I can set, it's just on a
Yeah.
schedule where it's on and waiting for me when I walk in my bedroom. Um, but what a difference! Like what a difference.
Yeah, you're not fumbling around to
Mm,
find switch to figure out, yeah, how to make sure you don't knock over your shoes or something. That's great.
yeah.
I'm excited for you.
Uh,
That's like a little thing that makes a big difference.
oh my gosh, it does. And honestly, it sounds ridiculous, but there's no wall switch on that lamp. So to walk over, especially if you don't turn the other lights on, it's in the dark, and you're like, all I got to do is press the button, and before I go to bed, lazy slug in my bed. I'm like, I just press the button and shut that light off, as opposed to trying to find the switch. Let's go back
That's
to
great.
styles. Back to
Sure,
styles.
yeah.
Bohemian.
Yeah.
Bohemian.
Bohemian.
What do you
Yes.
think that feels like?
So that's more of kind of like a global influence mix, with kind of like this artful mismatched approach. So if you think about, a few years ago, there was a trend. I don't know if you saw it. It was like these Moroccan kind of leather poofs, like these little ottomans that a lot of people were buying.
Okay.
They were at a bunch of different retailers. They were at Restoration Hardware. They were at big names and small names. They were like these circular, yeah, ottomans with like this white stitching on the top, and they came in all different colors of leathers and stuff. So I think things that are from maybe Morocco or from even like the Caribbean or South America, all these different kind of cultures, think of these really colorful blankets mixed with like, one side table that is like let's just say it's wood with like wood bamboo with glass on top. And the other one is this lacquered Chinese, or Asian inspired wood carved table, like it has all these different elements. And most of the time, someone who's bohemian not only appreciates all these different things, but they have some sort of meaning.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. And I'm seeing the visual of that, the ottoman.
Yes.
When I think
Okay.
about it, yeah. Haven't seen it in a
Yeah.
while though.
Right. Yeah. It was a huge thing. I can't recall how long ago. It's been a while. Maybe it's, yeah, close to at least over 5 years ago. But yes, that was, I would say, a bohemian accent that was incorporated in a lot of like people's homes, just because, yeah, it was very much of a global style that, compared to traditional elements, it was pretty different.
So
But
I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say, you know, if you back, this is a good example. So I would see specifically like that Moroccan style poof mixed with really traditional pieces of furniture and someone's house that maybe had gingham curtains and a Victorian style whatever lamp. They had these mixes of all these different things. And I think what scares people is this idea that if they have all those things mixed together, then it won't look good, right? Then it will
Mm,
look somehow mismatched and whatever else. And so I think the thing that I like the most about that trend is that it was very easy to see how this was something that might ordinarily not quote unquote work, but because it was paired, the different colors and textures, other things were all balanced off, it still looked really good together.
hmm. You said gingham.
I
I
did.
haven't heard
Yes.
that in like forever. That's funny. Wow.
Steve, it's back. I don't know if you've seen it around plaid, gingham, all those kind of stripes, the
No, I
things
haven't.
that,
No,
you
no,
know,
not
the,
not
that
yet.
Ralph Lauren had back in the day.
Wow.
It's just like fashion. I think design is it's very much like fashion where there's things that kind of go up and down, right? Of what's in, what's out.
Cool.
It just takes the arc is a little bit longer. Right. So, for example, Art Deco was from like, the 1920, it lasted, I don't know how long, almost 20 years. Same thing with like mid-century modern. Like people think of mid-century modern as like the mid 40s through, I think it's like the early 70s or something like that. So that's like, I mean, what, almost 30 years.
Yeah.
But all those things, even though they were a style or a trend, it doesn't mean that they don't look good now. It's just, again, how you kind of can make them feel a little bit more modern.
So you just brought a flash in my mind. I went to a distillery for a friend's birthday. It's really
Okay.
nice. It wasn't even far away. I thought it was just they had a counter and you sample stuff. No, they had a back room, and my first takeaway was, and I'm in the 70s again. It was the certain style of the chairs. It was like blue and golds, and the The chairs had that like velvety kind of cushions on them.
Yeah.
There was a lot of gold around, but that's what I was feeling. Is that back?
Yes, it is. Yes, the deep kind of jewel tones is definitely
That's what it
it's
was.
definitely back. Yeah, and um, yeah, I feel like I think we talked about this earlier, this idea of kind of wall-to-wall carpeting coming back. But yeah, the like my client, I have recently had a client who did the wall-to-wall carpeting, and she specifically um wanted a shag rug. She wanted something fluffy. So I would consider that, let's just say, kind of a 1970s thing. But also I don't know if you noticed in the news, because I know you're super attuned with the design news these days.
Yo, what do you got?
The Pantone color of the year, which Pantone, for those who don't
Oh, I
know,
got
is
you. 5 seconds.
I know, yeah. Yeah, for those who don't know, it's kind of like the person, the group that dictates all the other colors throughout all industries, kind of what's going to be the colors for each industry throughout all the global, national, whatever colors. And the color of the year that's for 2025 is like a brown color.
It's
It's like a milk chocolate.
I didn't Google this. I want you to know.
All
I'm no, hold on.
right, okay.
I saw this and sent it to myself. I'm actually looking at my sent emails.
Okay.
Pantone's color of the year is mocha mousse,
Yep.
and it's somewhat a lighter brown. But the challenge here is people think they're calling it poop.
Yeah, it's hard because I think the brown tones got that name for a long time.
Yeah.
People categorize those brown colors as poop forever. So it's a little bit of like, oh, really? It's, for example, you know how when flare jeans were really in and then they were really out, the kind of this back and forth
Oh yeah.
mix.
Then
It's like,
skinny jeans were in. Now
yes.
now if you wear skinny jeans, you're totally out. By the way, I'm going to say it right here. I don't care what Generation Z, what it says. I love skinny jeans. I'm wearing right now, and I really
I
go.
think you're fine with skinny jeans. Yes, I like skinny jeans too. Yeah, the baggy pants from the 19,
Yes.
90s are totally
Yes.
in. So, yeah. In fact, I saw something that looked like it was out of Clueless the other day, the movie, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so weird that this is this person's real outfit. That's not from the movie. So yeah, I think that those colors, they go back to what I think we talked about in a recent episode of kind of the overarching one of the trends, which is this idea of kind of making home feel cozier and wanting it to have more of those earth tones in it, wanting to kind of feel grounded in a way. If you're talking about the philosophy behind these kind of colors and why people are gravitating towards them. I
Sure.
mean, yeah, Kim Kardashian clearly was on top of it. She's had these brown colors for a long time, but yeah, I do think that people want something that feels natural and feels, that they can kind of manipulate it however they want. And yeah, and it sounds weird to say, but it's like a safe color.
Which color is safe?
Like the brown
Okay. All right.
colors.
I
Like
guess so.
as opposed to like think about fire and engine red and the color brown. Like which would you say is a safe color?
Obviously brown. It's a muted. It's an earth tone.
Yeah.
I think you can put more with that, match more with that than that fire engine red. Um,
Yes.
but like, to your point though, you got to be careful in some of those browns because they just might look drabby.
It can. And I would say that when I've seen it done really well, people kind of go for the really deep saturated tones and they kind of go for it in a certain texture. So they do a really deep chocolate velvet, or they'll do
Okay.
a really high gloss. Like I'm talking where it looks like, you could reflect yourself in it, paint on the walls in that brown. I saw a dining room where the walls, the ceiling, the trim, everything on the wall, like everything was painted in a high gloss brown color. And then the dining room itself had these really beautiful blue chairs and the light fixture, like, and it just kind of glistened and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. But again, it's very different than what I think you and I are used to seeing in terms of the poop brown.
100%. And I would love to see what that looks like, that glossy brown, because
Yeah.
it sounds kind of cool, but at the same time,
Yeah.
maybe not for the faint of heart, but I'd have to see it
Right.
before. Like if you told me, "Hey, Steve, I got a great idea," I'd have to say, "Mary Jo, I love you. I got to see it. I got to see it somewhere. Send me a picture.
I know. I know. Well, and trusting your designer is a big component because your designers are going to take you to this cliff that you do not want to jump off. You're like, I don't think this is going to look good. I'm scared to death. And that's the whole reason why you hire me, is so that I can actually hold your hand, and I'm going to tell you, you're not going to fall. I'm going to be right here. We're going to have fun. This is going to look really good. You will love it. You just have to trust me.
But at the same time, you may be standing at that cliff afraid to jump, but you've got a parachute on your client.
That's right. That's right. We're not going to fall.
Beautiful, descending down to wherever you're going to land.
Yes.
The way we do that is
you'll land in paradise.
You'll land in paradise. Thank you. Riseinteriors.co is where it starts. And MaryJo, always a pleasure. Learn so much. I can't get poop out of my mind. And
well, it's moose. Think of moose.
Moose. Thank you.
Get it out of your head. It's moose.
It's moose. Yes, it's moose.
You still eat chocolate pudding. You still eat, moose, even though it's brown. So just imagine it's a dessert.
Well, actually, my chocolate pudding is dark chocolate, so it's a
it's
that shade you mentioned before. All right,
that's right.
Thanks for today. We'll catch up soon. Okay.
Thanks so much, Steve.
We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.